Hello children, in this class we will discuss value education, lesson 2. Whatever God does is for the good, the exercise part. Exercises page 11. I request all of you to take out your value education notebook and write it down. Discuss the following in class. A. How was one minister different from others? The answer is, one of the ministers was different from the other as he had strong faith in God. So there were many ministers, but among all the ministers, one minister was different who had strong faith in God. B. What happened to the king on the breakfast table? On the breakfast table, the king's finger got hurt and blood started trickling out. The king shouted for help. So on the breakfast table, what happened? When he invited to one of his ministers, they were having their breakfast together. On the breakfast table, the king's finger got hurt and blood started trickling out. And when blood started trickling out, the king shouted for help, and one of his ministers who had strong faith in God said to him that whatever God does is for the good. Next, C. Why was the king angry at the minister? The king got angry at the minister because when he got hurt and was in pain, the minister said to him that whatever God does is for the good. Why was the king angry at the minister? Because at the breakfast table, the king's finger got cut, he got hurt, and he was in pain. But the minister, instead of helping him, the minister who had strong faith in God said to the king that whatever God does is for the good. Because of these words, the king got angry. And also the king said, what is good in it? Also the king said, my finger is paining. D. What happened in the forest? The answer is, in the forest, the king lost his way and got separated from his soldiers. Some of the tribal living in the forest saw and caught him and took him to their king to sacrifice him. After the breakfast, in the afternoon, the king decided to go for hunting. So in the forest, what happened? When the king went for hunting, the king lost his way. He went to the other side and he got separated from the other soldiers. He was alone. He lost his way. So when he lost his way, when he was alone, what happened? Those tribal living in the forest saw the king and caught him. And the tribal living in the forest took the king, their tribal king. Why? To sacrifice him. E. Why did the tribal king set the king free? The answer is, the tribal king set the king free because when they were preparing for the sacrifice of the king, one of the tribals suddenly saw a cut on king's finger and set the king free, as they cannot sacrifice somebody who is wounded. So, when some of the tribal living in the forest caught the king and took the king to the tribal king to sacrifice him, what happened? The tribal king let the king go back to his palace. Why the tribal king set the king free? Because when they were preparing for sacrifice, they caught the king for the sacrifice. So when they were preparing for the sacrifice of the king, one of the tribal, they saw a cut on king's finger, which the king got hurt in the morning on the breakfast table. The tribal king set the king free. Why? Because they cannot sacrifice somebody who is wounded. If anyone is wounded, they cannot sacrifice. Next, 2. Take the right answer. A. The minister king always said that whatever God does, it is for the good. Who said whatever God does is for the good? The minister or the king? The minister. Take minister. B. The minister had strong or no faith in God. The minister had strong faith in God. C. The king's arm finger got cut. The king's arm got cut or hurt, or the king's finger got hurt. The king's finger got hurt. D. The minister's comment at the breakfast table made the king happy or angry. So what the ministers gave comment at the breakfast table to the king? The minister's comment was, whatever God does is for the good. So when the king heard this comment at the breakfast table, the king was angry. Angry. E. The king went for hunting skiing in the afternoon. In the afternoon, the king went to the forest for hunting. Hunting. So dear children, I hope you understood about these exercises. In our next class, we will discuss lesson 3. Thank you. Have a nice day.